Hey everybody, Josh and David here for Whiskey Wednesday for Argonaut Wine and Liquor. We are at the Whiskey Sanctuary with our good friend Al Law, and we are trying some awesome Laws products. This is a brand new tasting room, kind of tour experience you guys have opened
Education
up.
center, yeah.
Education center, the whole bit. We're really excited to share it with you guys. This place is awesome. You guys did a fantastic job.
Thank you. It's a long time coming.
Yeah, we tried to shoot this video back in like September, and we ended up just getting it done now. But super stoked to be here, and we have some awesome whiskeys to talk about today. You want to tell us a little bit about the first one?
Yeah, so what we have is every year at the end of the year we put out what we call our Origin series, and we try to do something completely different that we haven't done before, kind of expand our skills, we think, and also to give you something completely different that you haven't had before from us, or maybe even ever. So this year, we decided to cross blend across different whiskeys. Normally we would do like a vertical of like rye or bourbon from 4 to 12 years old. This year we did that, plus we mixed our 100% wheat whiskey with our 4-grain. And you guys know all about this.
Yep, we actually
because
did it.
Last spring, you did it.
Yes.
So we're gonna have two today. We'll have yours and this one.
Yep.
And they're very interesting. So we did a 70-30. You did a 65-35.
Yep.
And ours is 9 barrels. Yours is equivalent to a barrel, but we've pulled from different barrels to create it. Remember that? You guys went through the process. So the Super Wheater is what we have this year in our Origins. So with the combination of 100% wheat whiskey and the 4-grain with 20% wheat whiskey, we're about 45% of the mash bill is wheat, and you're definitely going to pick that up since we're using Centennial white wheat, heirloom variety to Colorado. It's going to have those heavy oranges.
I was just
flavors,
about to say, yeah.
right?
You guys put out a 100% wheat whiskey every year, that we carry, and it's fantastic. But the really kind of keynote always on the nose for that is this like super oily, orange peely, bright orange citrus note, and that really comes to the forefront here as well.
And this is very distinctive of the grain varietal. So in here we're going to do, again, a vertical of age in the wheat side as well as the bourbon. So it's about there's 5.5 in it, and there's 12-year-old in this. And it's, again, just released last week. We were a little late because the labels didn't come in for the end of the year.
Always something.
Always something, but it is our annual release. And before this, we had done Cornerstone, which was a rye vertical. You've had that. That's one of the favorites here in our village. And then before that, our first one was our attempt at vertically blending our 4-grain, and that was called Intention. So those are the 3 that we've put out over the last 3 years. But let's try them.
Yeah, definitely. So, first one in the glass is Super Wheater. Like I said, that huge orange note on the nose definitely follows through on the palate too.
But you get a little bit of front palate spice, but this is crazy easy to drink. But I like the mouthfeel of it. It's a really easy to drink.
And this is at over 120 proof. So what I like to do with this is just something I discovered in the last week, is drop an ice cube in it.
Oh yeah.
So our wheat whiskey, the 100% bonded that we come out with every spring, it's awesome on ice. It's kind of our summer expression. This, given that it has a lot in it, I found really pops with a little bit of ice. We'll get that kind of water dilution off the top.
It's interesting, and on the nose, some of the orange goes away, but you get a little bit more of like a really more traditional wheat nose. It's like got that dusty quality to it that I associate with wheat whiskeys. And then
it's like a banana thing too going on for whatever reason.
Some tropical fruit comes out for sure.
Banana nut bread.
Yeah.
So, that's fun.
Oh wow, and on the palate, that's completely different.
It changes it, it creams it, and it feels like you've added cream to it. It's almost like a creamsicle. The
Like
thing
the
you
cocktail y'all just made for me.
Oh yeah, well, that's my favorite cocktail.
Yeah, that's super good.
And almost a little bit of like a mapley note too. A little bit of maple. That's fantastic. I mean, we always say on Whiskey Wednesday, drink it how you like it. Whether that's neat on the rocks, in a cocktail, drink it how you like it. This is good in several different ways.
Well, and also it's fun to get something that's a little bit higher proof, because you do something like this and it completely changes, but you can make it your own venture. You can say, all right, it's 120. but now it's down 90 whatever, and then it's completely different. And that's always fun.
Yeah, and then so we actually, like I was saying, did a version of this. We did our own. It's called the Rack House series, where we blended a 3-year, 10-month 4-grain bourbon with I believe it was a 7-year, 6-month wheat whiskey. And what we did, we kind of had. It was a really cool process.
It's fun, right?
It was a lot of fun. So we had a couple different bourbon samples, a couple different wheat whiskey samples. You kind of tried through each. You're like, oh, I like this one. I don't like this one. Or I didn't like this one as much. Tried this, whatever. And then you started blending them and in different ratios. So we were, I mean, it was like mad science a little bit, trying to get the right combination. And you know, first you try it like whatever, at 40% this one, 60% the other. And you're like, huh, it could use some more sweetness. So let's try a little bit more this or a little bit more that. It was kind of reminiscent a little bit of the Maker's Mark Private Select program that David and I have done a bunch in Kentucky. And it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun playing around with that one.
It was
And
great.
then we ended up at the, Alec was like, why don't you try just a 0.5% difference? And I was just saying off camera, we found that like magic, where we just all looked at each other and we're like, wow, that 5% made all the difference. This is incredible. That's what we're going with. So it is a really cool process. And, I'm sure a lot of other people are doing it too. And it's really great. So
We've learned a lot in the last 3 years in blending our own whiskeys, because before we would select barrels from a certain range to make our flagship. And they're all in a similar range, so this is what it is. You knew what it was. Once you start to blend them, the things that you like in one, when you put them in with another one, sometimes they go away.
Right.
Some things you don't like, all of a sudden you put it in with them, and all of a sudden it pops. So it's
Right.
like, here's the math in me, but it's like a histogram, right? So when you're blending it, you're not muddling anything. You're picking up high notes.
Right.
So if you put something together that has high note here, with something high note here, high note here, all of a sudden you have 4 high notes,
Right. Oh, yeah.
which adds to complexity.
Yep.
And so you guys found out like the wheat whiskey that you preferred the least is the one that you thought best in the blend.
Right.
And it made a fantastic blend. And this
Yeah.
is a 65-35
Yep.
and about the same proof, 120-ish.
I still get that orange a lot. Maybe it's just,
I definitely get the orange, but I was just going to say there's a little bit of like a chocolate note in there too. So it's like a little bit like one of those chocolate covered oranges is kind of
Oh, yeah. The
what
British
comes
thing.
to me. Yeah, right off the bat there.
Well, this has great tannins in it.
well, both of those do. That's, I was talking about the mouthfeel. Like, I like drinking wine a lot, and it's fun to get a tannic structure out of a whiskey.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See what we
why
get.
not?
I remember when we did, because we were going in 10% increments. We started at like 60-40, then we did a 50-50, then we went the other way. And when you said like, let's just try changing it 5% this time. And we went to what we ended up with, 65-35. And you and I both looked at each other and go, oh crap, and it was another pretty famous wheated whiskey from a Kentucky brand.
Tastes a
Wow,
lot like
that's
that.
exactly what
Yeah.
that is. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it was dead on, and it's still, straight reminded me of that quite a bit.
Well, Josh, I get that, dusty note. Why does that pop up? It goes from chocolate covered orange to like more rustic.
And the cold changed it a lot.
So
There's some other fruit now.
Yeah,
Like where the other one had the banana that came to the tropical, this is more like strawberry or something.
yeah.
definitely still got some of that, and I do get a little bit of that maple note again.
Oh yeah, that's characteristic of.
Yeah.
It comes from the rye actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So when you do, if we want to up in our 100% rye whiskey, if we want to up that, we barrel entry proof of 105 will give you more maple notes.
Interesting.
So it's definitely from that. It's not just because I was, came from Canada. So it's not just my.
You guys don't add maple syrup
We
into
do
the
not.
whiskeys?
I know. Like my dad puts maple syrup on everything, on salmon, on anything. So, yeah,
On salmon?
everything. He puts it on everything.
Well,
Canadian
I'll-
ketchup.
I'll have to take your word for that one. I don't think I'm going to try it myself. But then, third thing we have on the table, this is a fun project. I remember when you started this, we were touring the Rack House and you kind of showed us, you're like, hey, we brought this barrel in from France. We're going to try some stuff in it, see how it goes. Tell us a little bit kind of about this process.
So this started out as when we first our foray into finishing, we would get, you know, various barrels from, a lot of it were from France, Armagnac, some various, you know, obviously cognac, Sauternes, things like this from France. And we would finish them for like 6 months. And we're like, oh, wow, it added this flavor. But it was always like you floated something on top of the bourbon. So we're like, well, how can we get more integration? And you go, oh, we'll leave it in the barrel longer. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, that did some, but it still didn't accomplish that. And then we're like, well, why wouldn't we pay homage to cognac? Because cognac is about blending, not about vintage year and that kind of thing. So we decided, well, it'd be cool if we would finish a bunch of bourbon in different barrels and then marry them in and let them sit for a longer time, let them integrate. And then in 5 or 6 months, put some more on. So you end up with, like, again, this kind of stair step. And then we would harvest from that later, only some of it. And we keep building it up. So now, this is our 4th release we did this fall. And, you know, we put like 4 year into it every time we harvest from it. But the base stuff is now like 11 years old or so.
Oh, wow.
So it's a Solera, so we're going to pull from it, add to it, pull from it, add to it. And in doing that, it's different every year.
Right.
But its base, or its heart, if you will, gets richer and richer. And then we keep it sweet and keep it bright by adding the 4 year. So it's basically 3 year bourbon that spends another year in fresh cognac, calf fresh. They've used them for decades. We get them from France and we put them in there for a year, so that goes in on top. It can be actually more than a year too. It could be 2 years, depends. And then we let it sit, and we only harvest it in the fall.
Oh, cool.
We top it up in March, so we take some of the headspace out of it. But it's a process, right? That's what you're alluding to. And the process creates something very distinctive.
Oh yeah, I mean, the nose on that. I'm trying to place it.
A lot to unpack.
Yeah.
I was smelling it earlier. I'm like, I don't.
And this container that we do this in, we marry and let it integrate in, is a 55 years old, blending tank from France, and it's all French oak.
Yep.
So it's not charred or anything, but they've used it for 50 years. So we're not getting necessarily a lot out of the foeder, that's what it's called now, but it's a tank in which we're allowing it to integrate and breathe and mix together, but at the same time it's breathing. It's a living thing. It's not in stainless steel, so it's not, you know, it's getting something more out of the environment that you wouldn't get if you just did this in stainless steel. You could do it in stainless steel, but we want to have that extra kind of organic side of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I get like dried apricot.
Yeah, I was going dried fruit. I was almost going to more of like date fig realm, but I could definitely see dried apricot. Some dark fruit too, like almost like a plum maybe in there. Yeah. I mean, like not floral, fruity, but like very different fruity than what we were talking from here, right?
But it's a similar thing, right? Well, this is many barrels at different ages and then different aging time. Whereas we're selecting all these barrels at a point in time. This is alive. So every time it's grown up a little bit more. It's grown up a little bit more, and it changes every year.
And as you taste it, it is taking on a ton of the cognac characteristic.
Yeah. And it's not on the top or it's not on the end. It's through the whole thing.
Through the whole thing, yeah. Yep. You can almost blind me on that, and I might say cognac, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I like that.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, super smooth. I mean, easy drinking. It's got the dried fruit, those dark characteristics too, but it's not like super spicy or, you know, overly like baking spices or anything like that you can get in some other whiskeys with those same notes. It's much more well-rounded and you know, just not as abrasive. I mean, smooth.
Yeah.
It's at 95 proof, so it's still got some legs on it, and
it's got that tannic structure again.
Very much so. Yeah.
You know, it's almost like I want meat and cheese to, you know, get that thing on your teeth whenever you drink a tannic wine.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and speaking of meat and cheeses, you guys do those here, right?
We do. Like we don't have a kitchen,
right?
Per se, but we are allowed through the departments of various things in Denver.
Right.
We can assemble things. So we have like charcuterie cones. So they're like a paper cone, and they have some charcuterie meats in it, or cheese, or there's a vegetarian version of it.
Okay.
And we developed these with Jen Jasinski from Rioja.
Oh wow! Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
I love that
she
place.
helped us come without things. You know, she's genius at this stuff. So so really, it was such a great process.
Yeah.
So we have some other things on the menu like canned fish and chips that are, I wasn't a believer until I had it, and I'm like, this is great with whiskey.
When you got to come down here and check this place out. I mean, they got a great mixologist. They're making some really cool cocktails. We mentioned, the creamsicle, that bourbon creamsicle. That's so good.
Your guys' Black Manhattan, when I was here the
Manhattan.
other day, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Hey, Justin, can we kind of show the bar here and what we got going on? So yeah, the nice little kind of sitting room over here, bar area right over there. There's a TV, great place on a Sunday to watch a game.
Yeah.
Plenty of seating, just an awesome place to come down, try a couple pours of whiskey,
So yeah.
and a great view.
And we're also featuring other cocktails that don't have whiskey in them because we've made agave spirit in the past, and we have that, and rum for my wife. We made her rum a long time ago, so we have like 8-year-old. Yeah, it's like she was very involved and took like an extra 6 months to get the labels approved. She was so particular about it. But yeah, we have different cocktails too, like some rum-based one, tequila, or not tequila, I guess, agave-based one.
I remember trying your agave spirit. I was here. I brought some friends. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago now, and you had like a 5-year extra añejo.
Oh yeah,
and it was so good.
It was very rich. Yeah,
That was awesome.
El Florendita. So it's is this the new rum you created?
Marianne's Promised rum.
Yeah, and then that's with lime, maraschino liqueur, and a grapefruit, which sounds fantastic.
It's very good. Yeah.
Very well balanced.
And there's a bunch of non-elk stuff too that we have for those that are almost through their dry January or are making various lifestyle changes.
Right.
We have everything for everyone.
Yeah, it's great. And like I said, great place to hang out, awesome view, great people. So we're super excited to be here. And yeah, it is the last Wednesday of the month. That means it is time for our drawing. So the opportunity to purchase this bottle of this year's birthday bourbon.
Drum roll.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the honors?
Says Al Laws.
Oh, congratulations.
Perfect. Right on. Who knew? This is JJ
Schubert.
Schubert.
Yeah.
Yeah, JJ Schubert. Yeah, JJ.
Man, he doesn't live too far from here, Grant.
Yeah.
All right, this is
JJ, come down.
JJ, you were
to
very
get your
lucky.
prize. No, I'm just kidding. Come to Argonaut. We'll have it ready in like 30 minutes.
Yep.
But yeah, congratulations, JJ.
Yeah, guys, tune in next week. We'll tell you what our next lottery is, as well as I think we're actually doing another local edition next week. So
Yeah, I think we're
with
back
another
at Mile High, right?
Yeah, we'll be back at Mile High. So
Haven't been there in a long
another
time.
great local distillery. So some awesome whiskeys both here at Laws and at Argonaut. Come on down, give them a shot. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.